If you're like me and you're still working hard to pay off a bunch of student loan debt, you've sure enough got the blues. But fortunately, there's a lot of attention being brought to bear right now in Washington, D.C. on the student loan debt crisis in America, and there are solutions being put forward in Congress right now. I'm Jimmy Sengenberger with the Millennial Policy Center. Let's go inside the mind of a millennial and learn about how employers can participate in helping those burdened with student loan debt to pay it back. Back in 2004, student loan debt totaled roughly $345 billion. Today, at the end of 2019, that number stands at $1.6 trillion. That means that in just 15 years alone, student loan debt has more than quadrupled in America. Now, there's a lot of talk today that we should forgive student loan debt outright. At the Millennial Policy Center, we oppose that approach, but we're encouraged by legislators in Congress that are looking at the prospect of empowering employers to provide tax-free support for their employees so that they can pay off their student loan debt more quickly. For example, did you know that if you're working and going to school at the same time, your employer can provide up to $5,250 tax-free in support for your education? But you can't get the same benefit for your student loan debt. There's legislation in Congress that would allow for exactly that. The Employer Participation in Repayment Act would let employers pay up to $5,250 towards your student loan debt tax-free. Congressman Rodney Davis of Illinois is one of the leading advocates for this important bill.
I was part of working for an organization that had a student loan repayment program and saw that many of my colleagues who could least afford not to take those extra dollars to help pay down their student debt, they couldn't afford the tax bill at the end of the year. I thought we ought to treat tuition reimbursement the same way we should treat now student debt, where the first $5,250 would be tax-free as a benefit. This has the potential, if passed and signed into law, to save taxpayers $4 billion a year and actually allow employers to use this as an incentive to get the best and the brightest to come work for them once they graduate from that institution with the debt in hand, and they can start saving for their 401k, they can start saving for a home and achieving the American dream that they wanted that college degree to be able to give themselves.
But the Employer Participation in Repayment Act is not the only bill before Congress that would enable employers to provide tax-free support to their workers for their student loan debt payments. For example, Colorado Senator Cory Gardner has introduced the Student Loan Repayment Acceleration Act. This bill would enable businesses to set up 401k-style accounts for student loan debt payment purposes. That is to say, between an employer and employee, they could provide into this account up to $10,000 a year tax-free, specifically to pay off student loan debt. Now, the employer could work out the arrangement with their worker. Is it going to be a 50-50 split, 60-40, 40-60? But the bottom line is that here you have another example of a way where workers and their employers can come together to pay back student loan debt more easily, more quickly, and tax-free.
I continue to hear from employers who have a problem attracting and keeping employees. I hear from employees who are worried about their 10-year-old, 15-year-old student loan. So this allows them to say, an employer to say, we're going to give you $10,000 or $5,000. They can structure any way they want. That's tax-free. The business doesn't have to pay taxes on it. The employee doesn't have to pay an income tax on it or a payroll tax on it. It gives that employee an incentive to stay with the employer and an employer an ability to keep and retain employees and help them pay off their student loan. So it really is sort of a win-win situation.
This approach of enabling employers to help their workers pay back their student loan debt more quickly, more easily, and tax-free is a good one. Research shows that millennials are looking for employers that will provide this kind of benefit. For example, I was talking with a recent graduate who got her undergrad with 6 figures in student loan debt. She said right now she's not looking for retirement support, even though her employer's got a 401k type plan. Right now, she'd like her employer to be able to provide tax-free support for her student loan debt bills. This kind of approach really is smart.
Let's find a creative way to allow people affordable entry into student loans, affordable ability to pay them off in a way that's a free market recognition. Businesses value the education, they value retaining that employee, and the employee has an incentive to stay with that business that's helping them pay off their loan.
There is no question that we have to get a handle on the massive student loan debt crisis in America today. But we shouldn't go about it through some sort of big government forgiveness scheme. Instead, we need to look at practical, affordable ways to help borrowers pay back their student loan debt more quickly, like getting employers involved tax-free in providing such support. This is just one of many ideas that the Millennial Policy Center is talking about on our website, millennialpolicycenter.org. Log on today to learn more about how to address this important crisis in America.